Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? Hopefully, things are going well enough. It is Monday, and it is August 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. So, what we are doing is we're going live every day, as we have been talking about. So, for those of you watching, I see there's a number of you on various different channels and various different Facebook groups and whatnot. Thank you for being here. Feel free to come back for tomorrow as well, because we'll definitely talk about that. We'll be going live. We, Cashflow Diary, you'll be introduced to my team. You'll find and learn a lot from all of us collectively, I will say, over the course of the entire month of August. Today, we had a significant amount of technical difficulties, and I apologize for being late. However, it does remind me of one of the things that we have created for you. So in case something, not just in case something like this happens, but more importantly, if you find yourself in a situation in which you would like to make sure that you still get access to the recordings, and you want to make sure that, sorry, I gotta find the right one. There it is. You want to make sure you still are able to get to the recaps, and you want to make sure that you get the notifications when we are going live. Just go over to cashflowdiary.com/live. Again, go to cashflowdiary.com/live, because over these next 30 days, we're going to be talking about business. We're going to be talking about real estate. We're going to be talking about all the pieces that are necessary in order to help you become a bigger, better, badder entrepreneur. But more importantly, this may be the first time that you are an entrepreneur, and that's also okay, completely accepted, but most importantly, we're going to continue to be your guide collectively. So, on today's agenda, we have, so I just want to make sure I follow the agenda as we have it laid out, because that's going to play into the schedule later. Yes, on today's agenda, as you saw in the top of the notifications, it's turning a hobby into a business. Now, if you missed yesterday's session was all about why a short-term rental business is not an Airbnb business. So understand that there is a very important difference between a short-term rental business and an Airbnb business. And again, that obviously they're recorded. Yeah, for those of you on YouTube, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to find all those things. And we want to make sure, though, that you continue to understand that we are going in sequence with a significant amount of information to help you begin to make the shift, the transition, and become just a little bit bigger and badder. Now, with that being said, there's something else we've done for you that we've never tried before, but we're going to try now. What is that? We're going to answer your questions. We're going to do that in two different ways. What do I mean? We are going to answer your questions. All you got to do is go to cashflowdiary.com/ask. Put in, just fill in the blanks and make sure you leave a question, right? Then, on the other side of that, at the bottom of that form, some of you will be invited to have free live coaching. So literally with me, not only will I be answering your question, but you'll be able to continue and go deeper with that question back and forth. Now, again, only the best questions are going to be chosen. So put your best foot forward so that you can have a shot at doing so. If you want to, but all questions will get answered. So just make sure you go over to cashflowdiary.com/ask, ASK. Tomorrow is one of our Q&A days. So your questions that are there are the ones that, your questions that get submitted ahead of time will receive priority and will definitely get answered. All right, I'm trying to make sure. Oh, and then last but not least, as we continue to go through all of the information and understanding of everything here, one of the things to know is that our goal is to help you get started. So we are going through our playbook, if you will, but if you want to take get a head start on all of that, you can go to cashflowdiary.com/playbook to get a PDF of our ebook of all of the understanding and the resources and the many things that we're going to be expounding upon collectively here as a team over the next rest of the month inside of August. So again, really quickly, 9 a.m. every day, month of August, you're gonna learn something. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Feel free to always type in the chat, because we want you to interact. That will always make the sessions better for you, makes them better for us, and most importantly, make sure that we are all on the same page, headed in the same direction. with that being said, I just want to remind everybody that today we're going to be talking about specifically how to turn your hobby into a business. The difference between a hobby and a business, if you will, why you should make the switch, and specifically a question I get, what's gonna happen once I do, AKA, how long till I make some money? That type of stuff. So we're gonna get through all of those things right after this. All right, welcome back. For those of you who are meeting for the first time, hi, my name is Jay, CEO of Cashflow Diary, and what we're going to talk about today is how to turn your hobby into a business. And very, very specifically, why would you want to do such a thing, you know, in that case, and more importantly, what is the difference and what happens once you do? When it comes to the process of real estate investing in general, okay, real estate investing in general, there are many different ways to skin that cat. Yes, I said skin the cat. Yes, I know some of you like cats. I'm not a cat person. Anyway, my point is that there are multiple ways to go about the business of real estate in order to earn an income. Now, one of the ones that has recently, or I would say, that's newer to the table is to be able to use and leverage real estate via the sharing economy, via platforms like Airbnb, for example. So when we're talking about a platform like an Airbnb, that is part of the reason why a lot of individuals call it an Airbnb business. Now, again, if you want to get caught up on those things, feel free to look for yesterday's content, because that's exactly what we talked about. My point is that when we do so, sometimes when we're first trying to start something, we don't really have all of the pieces together. More importantly, we're just testing it out. We want to test the water. Does this kind of work or not? Because we're not 100% sure, but we want to be sure. We should be sure. We can be sure. And that's exactly where it is that I want to start. When it comes down to turning your hobby, and that's what most people do, they start out with their short-term rental business as a hobby. It's something they'll do on the side. It's, hey, we have a spare room. And again, that's completely fine, right? Because you've got to start somewhere. You're trying to get what I call, someone type this in the comments, POC, proof of concept. That proof of concept is everything when you're at the beginning, because you don't know what you don't know, but at the same time, you're trying to hedge your risk against some sort of perceived or imagined or even real failure. And your boy knows a little bit about failure. I've had a ton of failure events. In fact, most recently, just even last week. So what it comes down to, though, is understanding that moving past that POC. So what the question is what happens once you move past it, right? There are many individuals, when I was first getting involved in the short-term rental world, there were many individuals that I interviewed because I wanted to know too, does it work? How does it work? Can I make it work? What does it take to make it work? You know, because I don't know everything. The only thing I do know is start by talking to some of the people who have done it before, right? Because that's what we did. Well, start with some of those people. And I kept hearing some very similar things, and many of those similar things were, I don't know how to find the more, like what I would ask somebody, do you like it? They're like, yes. Okay, cool. How many do you have? Well, I only have one or two. Or how long have you been doing it? That was the other one. Oh, I've been doing it for a long time. Okay, 5 years, 6 years, 8 years. Great, totally. How many listings do you have? Well, I only have one, or two, or three. Or it was always a number that I thought was strange. And I was like, okay, well, you say you've been doing it for, 5 years and you only have 3. Why is that? What's missing? And there was just a transition, either because they were like, well, I don't know how to get more money. I can't get access to more properties. I'm spending too much time doing laundry anyway, right? These are all concerns and they're valid. And yet I also knew that systems can make the difference. One of the most important reasons that you're going to want to consider taking a hobby and turning it into the business is simply because once you develop the different intent Now you'll be willing to commit the proper resources. See, that is the biggest difference that I have found between a hobby and a business, right? The hobby is something that maybe you do for a completely different intent. The intent is not, it maybe doesn't have a profit motive. It doesn't have a feel-good motive. If it's your nonprofit, there isn't some other compensation or reward in that regard. Hopefully that makes some sense, right? And what you're thinking about at that time is, well, the fact that you enjoy it. It's a release, right? It is for the love of the sport, a amateur, if you will. And that's fine if that's what it's supposed to be. But occasionally what has happened and what happens and what I've seen happen here specifically as it relates to short-term rentals is that there's a significant number of individuals who started it out as a hobby, have been doing it a long time, and now they have a desire to professionalize the business. And totally makes perfect sense to me. I'm all for it all day long. I'm not, somebody said something about a popping noise. And I'm not hearing it. So I don't really know what that might be. Oh, I know what it is, actually. Sorry, got it, muted it. It's every time you guys were typing in the chat, that popping noise was the actual computer making the popping noise because I forgot to mute it. I told you we were having a hard time today. Anyway, we got it now. All right, so many individuals start out as a hobby, or because maybe you have an extra property, maybe you had an extra bedroom, maybe you just need extra income. But what happens sometimes with our hobbies is that we find out that, hey, this is good, I want more. And then it becomes, okay, so what do I do? Well, okay, to turn your hobby into a business, get ready to write this down. Step number one is to change your intent. Here's why. When you change your intent and go, hey, I am going to build a business now, you should be automatically willing to commit additional resources. Now, see, oftentimes when we are just working with something as a hobby, we're not trying to necessarily master it, unless we consider it our craft, but we're not trying to master it. Maybe we're having fun with it. It's a release. We can get better at it, but over time, there is no objective. There is no time frame to these things. But once it becomes a business, all of those things, all of those things matter. They matter at that particular moment. So the first step is to change your intent. See, a business is going to have KPIs. You ready? Key performance indicators. You're gonna know how many times you need to talk to a landlord. You're gonna have revenue numbers. You're going to measure, right? There's a concept out there that I often teach individuals is goal, plan, track. It's like a triangle. You have to have a goal, because now it's a business. That means there's a goal, then we're gonna develop a plan, and then we're gonna track our activity relative to that goal. That's what we're doing. That's why we're doing it. We're trying to achieve something in that way. And that's really, really important to understand. Our ability to stay focused on that is everything once it's a business. Okay. Now, why should you make the switch? Well, for most of you, if you're in a situation in which you're like, man, I would love a way to make some additional income. I would love a way to take what I am enjoying doing. My daughter said this to me the other day, in fact. She's really proficient at, oh God, get it right, Jay. Crocheting. It's either crocheting or knitting. I'm sorry, honey. I did it again. Anyway, and she has been considering during this, economic time going, hey, I would love to be able to keep doing this and living, quote unquote, this way. Because I mean, when your job is gone and school is closed and all this stuff is happening, the way that it's happening is like you ain't got much else to do. And in her world, crocheting is that thing that's a hobby that can become a business, because there are individuals who appreciate crocheted items for various different reasons, ways, and kinds. And now it's time for her to also make that transition. If that's going to be, it's goal, plan, and track. So some of the initial goals when it comes down to creating a short-term rental business are things like simply, how many units do you want? How soon do you want them? And most importantly, when are you going to get them started? The process, sorry, I forgot where I was going. There it is. So when you were in the process of making that switch, one of the things that is the most important to understand, you are going to make the switch because you're ultimately building an asset. So someone please write that in the chat, because that's the most important reason why you should switch, is to build an asset. An asset is something, it's very simple definition, something that puts money in your pocket. And it better, especially when you don't have to work. An asset, you must build them. We must learn how to build them collectively. It is part of the financial education that your future, family's future, etc., is going to be built on, is your ability to buy, own, control, build, manage assets into the future. That's why. One of the best ways to learn lessons is to try to build a business. Trust me, develop a product or service and then learn to sell it, and then try to learn to sell it to way more people. And you're gonna learn a lot, a whole lot of things. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The number one reason why you should make the switch is to build an asset. The number two reason why you should make the switch is to build yourself. Okay. I've said this before, and it's been said various different ways, but write this down. You will not out-earn your personal growth. That's just the way it is. Building an asset and learning to build that asset, any asset, will teach you so many things about yourself that you can't even begin to guess at all of the lessons that you would learn. Okay? And then the number three reason why you should is because what ends up happening is that as you're building that asset, you're building yourself, you tend to help others as well as yourself build belief. See, a lot of us have a significant amount of values that we would love to see either in the world or just lived out more often. And the unfortunate thing is that too many of us are not living close to those values. And we're not living close to those values for one very simple reason. It's usually because you're doing something with your time, with the majority of your time, that doesn't live close to the values. It's also known as a job, and you get what I'm saying. Unless your job actually is an expression of your values, you are one of the fortunate. There aren't many or enough. And what I'm saying is that the path to be able to live closer to that is through building an asset, building yourself, because then as you build that belief, you'll build it in yourself, you'll build it in others around you. They will take license from your willingness to move forward and go, wow, I know that person. If they can do it, I can do it. And together we all win. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? I know it does. Now, what are some of the results that tend to happen when it comes to building your asset base and learning specifically when it comes to like short-term rentals? Well, there are many. Many of you love, meeting people. Obviously, the short-term rental world is a hospitality business. You will meet a lot of individuals, and some of you like it for that. That is definitely one of the benefits. Some of you, you have the desire to decorate and design, and that's your thing. It's not mine, okay? It's really not, I promise. And that's good. And you'll get to express that frequently, often. Probably more often than maybe even your friends and family would like, because hey, you just found another pillow at home, Home Goods, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe these pillows are on sale, and you're excited about it. And it's part of your business, so now you get to keep doing it anyway, right? Then one of the biggest benefits, I know for myself, the things that I cared about, and you may care about as well, is we were able to create more jobs locally, like right in our own backyard. And that's part of what gets me excited, is that the Cash Flow Diary team and our ability to deliver clean, safe, affordable housing and on temporary nature as people need it has proven that we've been able to fill in some gaps from time to time as the marketplace needs, right? Specifically, because I know part of the questions that, and we'll be talking about this in the future, part of the questions that some of you have is like, okay, so, but Jay, this whole COVID thing, how is that working? No problem. You can submit questions, cashflowdiary.com/ask, okay? But one of the benefits that has come from this is realizing that, hey, when, say, a senior citizen who wants to quarantine but doesn't want to be in, say, the same assisted living facility that they've been in, well, now they can have a new place to stay. When a first responder gets infected but doesn't want to go back home, well, now they can have a place to stay. There's many different facets to the short-term rental world, but the benefit, this is what happens, is that you get to be a completely different type of contributing member to your own local community. Now, yes, when you learn to build the business, in theory, you should be able to also bring more value to the hour. This is a key concept that we must all understand. So I want to take a moment and illustrate this really quickly before we're done today. And I want to show you that one of the key concepts that we must grasp is the understanding of how much value we bring to the hour. See, in general, we tend to speak in terms of dollars per hour, okay? In general, that's what we're talking about, dollars per hour. And that's great because, maybe there's minimum wage, which I don't even know what minimum wage is. And maybe you make $20 per hour. I don't think that's minimum wage, so I'm gonna put that there. And then, or maybe it's 25, or maybe it's 50, or some other number. And this is how you currently look at your economic value to the marketplace. Well, the thing is that all of that is still tied to a clock. It's tied to time. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So even if you could physically work for 24 hours straight, not only would that be unhealthy, but that's the most you could create. And here is the concept that I really like about understanding real estate, short-term rentals specifically. When you have your first unit and that unit is occupied on any one day, what happens is 24 hours goes by and you earn value equal to that 1 day worth of production, right? So you're living your life, 24 hours goes by. But once you have a second unit, this is where the magic happens. The same 24 hours expires for you, but you economically earn 2 days worth of value. And see, that keeps going. And then learning how to do this at scale, and by scale, I mean 20, 30, 50 locations or more, and then having it consume only 1 hour of your day. This is where and how building an asset, building yourself, building your own belief will make the difference financially and substantially for everyone that's around you. That's what happens. You become a completely different member, contributing in a completely different way, and typically enjoying the process. Now, you're gonna learn lots of things, and that's good, but I think that's also like why you're here. So, as a reminder, for those of you who haven't already, feel free, and if you're especially if you're watching on the replay, go to cashflowdiary.com/ask. Put the information in there. Ask your question. Tomorrow is going to be the Q&A, and then on Wednesday, only the best questions. Best, that means be detailed. Only the best questions are going to be chosen. Some of the best questions will be chosen, and you'll be able to converse with me one-on-one for a live coaching session around your question. whatever it might be, it's gonna get asked. So for those of you who do get chosen for any of the live ones, I'm just going to warn you now, bring a notepad, bring a pen, bring something to write with, because not only will you have the why, you're gonna have the what and the how, and in my world, when is always now. So you'll be able to execute, because that's the goal. For those of you, if you joined a little bit late and you're wondering what's going on, my name is Jay, CEO of Cashflow Diary, and what we're doing is we're going live every day in the month of August. Our intent at Cashflow Diary is to help individuals like yourself become bigger, better entrepreneurs. If you want more entrepreneurs, do us a favor, especially those of you on YouTube, hit that like button now, because that'll tell YouTube that, hey, you know what, these guys are pretty good, they're decent, you know, they were late today, but they're still decent, and I did learn something. And if you want to get caught up on all of the previous ones for the month, you're going to want to go over to cashflowdiary.com/live. Again, that's cashflowdiary.com/LIVE. When you do that, we're going to send you notifications about when we're going live again. And most importantly, if we ever have technical glitches or hiccups, you'll have the ability to still watch, or if your kids interrupt you or something of that nature, you'll still have the ability to watch and make that happen as well. Now, we also know that there's some of you, you're ready to go right now. Makes perfect sense. Get over to cashflowdiary.com/playbook, and we can get you started with our playbook. It's literally a step-by-step guide on how to get you started in the short-term rental world, because that's what we do. Over here at Cashflow Diary, our goal is to help you build, own, control, buy, maintain, and manage assets, whether that be real estate related directly, and occasionally we'll talk about other forms of creating cash flow, because at the end of the day, that was the gift my wife and I were given. We were given the gift of being incapacitated at a young age, to the point to where the only way we could earn income was to learn to develop cash flow. And so now we divide our time helping others to do the same, creating jobs along the way, having lots of fun, playing with lots of fun technical toys from time to time, but ultimately doing our best to make sure you do better. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been fun talking to you guys today. I definitely look forward to talking to you again real soon, AKA tomorrow. And until next time.